Hello and welcome to Obsessive Audio. Eric here, and we have a brand new release from Acustica. I know that people have been waiting for this plugin for quite a long time to be updated, and the day has arrived. We have Sand 4 Ultra, the legendary sound of classic British consoles, and I think we all know what that means. That means SSL, and in this case, a G Series SSL. Currently residing in a studio in Italy. Its original home was a radio facility in Sweden, and when they got the console, they updated it, upgraded it, new specs, better than new specs. This thing sounds fantastic, just glorious. It's been updated with Acustica's Ultra technology and the Aria engine and the new graphical EQ interface. Can't wait to show you what it does, the different plugins that you get with the suite. I've got a mix with 12 or 13 instances from the suite so we could hear how it sounds, and we could also go over the various features and controls that the plugin has. So to get started, we have the channel strip here, and that's got your EQ section, dynamics section, and harmonics, distortion control, stereo spread control. Note that it does not have the gate expander section, but in my mind that's not a deal breaker. This thing sounds so good I don't mind using other plugins for that. We have the EQ section here and the relatively new graphical drag and drop, drag and scroll interface where you can move your filter points around, and that is super cool. And to round it off, we have the bus compressor, which again just sounds fantastic. Why don't we take a look at a mix that I've got going on here. So a bunch of different channels, but the drums have all been lumped into one. I've got an instance of the channel strip on that. I've got the master bus has the compressor on it, bass, cymbals, synths have the channel strip and some EQ instances, and the channel strip's also on guitars. I think I've got an EQ on the delay return as well. But let's have a listen. Strap yourselves into the DeLorean because we're going back in time. So you get the idea. It's kind of classic 80s sound going on here. Now I do have a mix version of this mix with all of the sand instances turned off, which I'll switch to right now, but with the caveat that it's a different mix. So, well, let's just hear it. Now I'm going to turn them back on. Let's hear it with it all on. So hopefully that gives you a rough idea of the tonality. There's a bit of grit, there's a bit of forwardness, aggression to the drums, some very shiny, sparkly top end. Classic SSL sound. I mean, how many albums were mixed on SSL? I like the majority of them. And there's a reason. You work with this thing, and I'm telling you, it's like Play-Doh. You sculpt sounds in a very different way, and you're still maintaining kind of a clarity to it all. I don't. SSLs are love it or leave it for a lot of people, but I dig it. I like getting down on these tones. Let's solo out the drums. So you can hear what I mean again about the aggression. So I'm going to bypass this channel strip that's on the drums. Right? So, and you multiply that by the other elements in the mix, and then you've got yourself an SSL sounding mix. Let's play with, let's do the controls for a minute here. We've got the preset management at the top here. These are common to all of the new Acustica releases, so we don't want to spend too much time on this. The size now goes up to 2.25 times, and even better yet, you don't have to reload the plugin. The size changes in real time now. We've got presets to get you started. Filters, high and low pass filters, which can be either on the sound or you can assign it to the compressor's sidechain. Here's the compressor here with an external sidechain also available. Threshold, ratio, attack, release. The Acustica SH mod, that is the shape of the attack. Get a little bit of a different tone there. Wet, dry mix for parallel compression. Makeup gain. A high-pass filter in the side chain, which is great because it means you don't always have to use this if all you want to do is duck out a little bit of sub out of your side chain. Link and unlink, that's for the stereo, left and right operating at the same or operating together exactly the same. Same would go for mid-side when we get to the bus plugin. And your internal level, compensated gain, you can drive it hotter or open it up and drive it a little quieter without changing the volume, just the internals, and it will hit the compressor harder if you crank this up. Over here we've got the EQ section, high shelf, low shelf, high mid and low mid frequencies, kilohertz gain, bandwidth. The high mids has a ×3 frequency multiplier, and the low mids has a divide by 3 frequency multiplier. Down here you can bypass the EQ. You can insert it after the compressor, the dynamic section, or before the dynamic section, or you can simply assign it to the side chain of the dynamics over here. And I should mention on the dynamics you've got the channel compression sampling or the bus compressor available here in this section. So 2 different compressors to choose from, and of course a bypass. You've got your preamp harmonics here, and if you want more harmonics, you just crank it up. It will volume compensate. It's just going to get dirtier, more preamp harmonics. Here you've got different preamps to choose from, like 24 lines from a console. And I've actually laid out this mix, so I've got, line 1, line 2. So it's a different channel sampling on each of the channel instances. But you've also got mics to choose from and master bus. Got stereo spread here, polarity reverse here. You've got ultra mode, which it affects the breakup of when it's driven really hard, the breakup of the distortion gets a little more truer to what the analog unit would do. You got bypass here. You got your listen section here. You can listen to to the left or right stereo, just the mid content, just the side content, or the delta, only the things that you're changing with the EQ or the compressor. Got some pretty good metering here and a master output. And last but not least, oversampling, which on this plugin goes up to 8 times. Now, with the 13 instances I've got going on here, I'd say, because I'm also running some other plugins, it's probably hitting less than 20% of my CPU, but I haven't been using oversampling or any of the, crazier settings here, so they're all set for not oversampling in this session. Let's move on to the cymbals. Let's do the hats, just so you can hear the high-end character of this thing. Here's the shelf up here. Let's crank it up. Play with the frequency. Flat. Cranked. It really is a beautiful thing. Sounds different from your standard DAW EQ. Let's check it out. Let's check out the master bus compressor. I think we've got ourselves a demo here. All right, it's master bus compressor. I've set it to the bus compressor, not the channel. Lots of attack. Pretty fast release. I did time it up to the beat, to the rhythm of the song. Let's dig into that, hear the compressor in action. That's with the ratio cranked. Anyway, so put that back to where it was, I guess. And basic controls, of course: ratio, makeup gain, attack, release, SH mod, threshold, sidechain, high pass filter, wet, dry, mix, input trim for the internal levels, switch between the channel compressor or the bus compressor. Here's the whole plugin for the preamp. More harmonics, less harmonics. Attack hold, release hold. I haven't played with these yet, but you know, hopefully you know what those are. Stereo link or unlink. This is a cool knob here because you can do your left or right compression, or you could say only compress the mids, only compress the sides, or anywhere in between. That's pretty cool. Power section is it deals with the detection circuit, whether that's peak. At its lowest, it's more of a peak compressor, and it becomes more of an RMS compressor as you turn it up. And I kind of like sometimes playing with power. It gets a little more gritty, a little more distorted. Here's the three-way Acustica knob where you decide between compression. You can start to turn that into a limiter or a saturator. What I generally like to do is hit the compressor and set it the way I like it, and then just sort of nudge this up to take care of any overs, anything that's getting through. Or well, let's say most of what's getting through. You can give yourself a couple more dBs of peak shave off right here, and a master output level. Bypass the plugin, listen to left and right, listen only to the mid content, listen only to the side content, or listen to the changes that you're making. So only the part where the compressor is active. Oversampling, again, that goes up to 16 times on this one. So yeah, because it's going to be on your master bus, so more oversampling is a good thing.
It's too much, it's too much. Too much power, too much class, it's all too much, too much.
And here we've got finally the EQ plugin. Love this thing. I love how easy it is to drag your curves around here and note the changes. It sounds amazing. What is this actually on now? Oh, okay. Some high synth strings. Listen to that shimmer. Love it. Also, there are different modes to the equalizer: hyper mode, echo mode, digital ×2. The manual says that if you choose digital ×2, that gives you even more accurate high end to the hardware. Let's hear how that sounds. We'll go back to hyper mode. Those are the two modes that I like, the hyper mode and the digital ×2. I tend to toggle between those two. Hear what I like best. Hyper gets picked a lot of the time. I don't know why. There's something silky about it and fluid. Digital is closer to you. It's a bit more upfront even, and it is true that the high frequencies do sound quite a bit better. What else do we have on this plugin that we may have missed? You got your preamps section here. The size, of course, and your preset management. Oh, well, there you go. That's what happens with the size. See how fast that happened? Boom. Don't have to reload the plugin anymore. I love that. A couple more things here. You can double click on the numerical entry here, field. Let's say I wanted to type in exactly the frequency I wanted, 220. That's an A note. And that works like that. And of course that A note down here, and I love this keyboard thing, so cool. That would be right here. And that's super helpful, you know, to know the key of the song that you're in if you're trying to make drums fit a little better than that, or maybe you got bass notes that are popping out too much or getting lost. It can really be a help. And in addition to that, you've got your spectral monitoring as well here. Frequencies, all visible. I love the way they've done it too. For whatever reason, it's very easy to see the frequencies you're working on. I know in this case it's not a very loud track, so it's also got a third octave graphic EQ mode for that visualization as well. A real IIR, which will show you the actual impulse response that you're getting. So there you have it, SAN 4 Ultra from Acustica Audio. It's on sale at introductory price. I will leave the link in the description below. Go check it out. I know you won't be disappointed, especially if you do love that SSL sound. This might be up there, some of the best, especially EQ, that I've heard, period. Hope you liked, hope you enjoyed, hope this was entertaining and educational. Make sure you like and subscribe and all of that wonderful stuff, and we'll see you next time on Obsessive Audio.